A common question that comes up in the track riding world is when should you replace your tyres? This question is born out of fear of old rubber causing a crash by suddenly giving up and losing all of its grip. This fear in turn has people throwing away good tyres when they're still perfectly usable, just because someone else said that they will only last a couple of days, for instance. In this video, I want to go over some points for consideration to help you better decide for yourself when the right time is to change your tyres. It goes without saying that different factors come into play when talking about when we change our tyres, such as the rider's pace, the suspension setup, the bike being used, the nature of the track, the tyres being used, and how kind your right hand is to the tyres themselves, among others. In that case, it's safe to say that there are no hard and fast rules about how much life you're going to get from a set of tyres. So what are some of the things to look for? The first is grip levels and movement. Can you feel the tyres moving around at all? Movement that wasn't there before. This is a surefire sign that grip levels are starting to decrease. The increase in movement will always be gradual and grip levels will never just fall off a cliff. So you won't find that all of a sudden your tyres have zero grip from one lap to the next. Next is the shape of the tyre. Is the tyre losing its shape? And by that I mean, are you getting flattened sections on that tyre? The middle third on each side of the rear tyre will wear down a lot quicker than the centre when riding on the track, as it's the section of the tyre that deals with the hardest acceleration. And when this happens, it can change the handling characteristics of the bike. Most notably, you may start to experience a little more squirm at maximum lean, where the shoulder of the tyre has changed shape, affecting the size and stability of the contact patch. Also consider your tread depth or wear indicators. As this image shows, motorcycle tyres can be taken way past the wear indicators and the minimum level of tread while still offering adequate grip. However, if you are seeing the tread disappearing through a section of tyre, then this is around the time you may notice a bigger decrease in grip levels. The thinner the rubber is on the surface of the tyre, the less grip you're going to have because the rubber can't get as hot or work as effectively, so tread depth should be something you pay attention to. And finally, a quick mention on heat cycles. A heat cycle is when a tyre goes from cold to hot and then cold again. This cycle is said to negatively affect the makeup of the tyre, causing the rubber's effectiveness to diminish. But while the heat cycle phenomenon does exist, in my opinion it's not quite as crucial as we've perhaps been led to believe, as we can see in this excerpt from the Dunlop Racing website. It says, "Heat cycles are not an issue with Dunlop Racing tyres as it would be with other brands. The more important factor is how much tread is left on the tyre. Thicker rubber has more grip and develops more heat, thinner rubber has less grip and runs cooler. After each session you have less grip, as the tyre wears out you have less and less grip. Some riders will call it heat cycling, but in actuality it's the rubber getting thinner and thinner. It truly depends on how much the tyre is worn out and your specific demands for grip that determine when a tyre is not usable for you." So as you can see, heat cycles perhaps aren't as big an issue as you might think. That being said, this is a statement from one particular brand, so take this as you will depending on the brand that you use. Having said all of that, you must ride to the grip levels. On a number of occasions I've heard people say that they had a crash because the tyre was old and it ran out of grip, but that isn't strictly true. In reality, what happened was the rider wasn't riding to the grip levels they had, and even when they might have been getting signs of decreasing grip, they decided to press on at the same pace, or as often happens, they continued trying to go faster. Put simply, a worn tyre will still run perfectly happy on the track, just at a pace that's slower than a completely fresh one. You must try and be conscious to the signs of decreasing grip and ride accordingly. And you may be thinking, how on earth would you know? And in truth, this is really something that only comes from experience of riding on tyres that are past their best. But if you're mindful of the fact that grip could decrease based on the criteria we've just covered, then you will be well prepared to feel those early signs. So the next time you feel you need to replace your tyres just because a mate said you'll only get a couple of days out of them, ask yourself if you really need to change them. Am I feeling any movement? Is the wear pattern smooth? Is there visible tread? Does the tyre still have a good shape? These are the kinds of questions you should be asking to determine when to change your tyres. Now, changing them because you've lost confidence in them is perfectly okay, but if you think they still feel good, then you likely have a little more life to get from them. So take others' recommendations with the advice you've been given here and you'll likely come to a better conclusion yourself. What lessons have you learned about tyre life during your time on the track? Tell us about it in the comments down below, and as always, if you like the video then please hit the button and subscribe to the channel for more performance riding advice and guides moving forward. I'll see you in the next one.